I have for you some really cool and easy thrift store flips that you're going to love.
Going to the thrift store is always so much fun. It's one of my favorite things to do. And today I went to the Salvation Army, which is always a treat because it's not the one nearest to my home. Nonetheless, I love going straight to the frame section. This beauty here is solid wood, and although it's very cute, I have major plans for it. I'm going to remove the little sawtooth hook from the back, and then I'm just going to straighten out those hooks or clips, and then I'm just going to remove the center. I'm going to remove this block. Not sure why it was there to begin with, but I did remove it. I'm now going to remove completely the little clips because I'm not going to need those. Then I'm going to give the frame 2 coats of Rust-Oleum milk paint in the Highline blue. While that dries, I'm going to take the middle portion and I'm going to hot glue it to a piece of cardboard. I recently did a video using cardboard and I had this leftover, so I'm just going to hot glue it right there. Then I am going to kind of measure. I did measure the frame and it's 8 inches wide, and I'm just going to start marking 8 inches on each side, and that way I know where to cut using my blade knife. Once I had it cut to size, I am going to give it a couple of coats of Waverly chalk paint in the white. I'm going to add this stencil, which is from Essential Stencil, and I am going to place it towards the upper left-hand corner, and I will tape it in place just to make sure it stays in place. Now I'm going to add some tape to the flower portion because I do not need that area stenciled. I'm going to use Waverly Chalk Paint in the ink and a stencil brush by Essential Stencil. I'm adding very little paint on my brush, and I'm just doing a circular motion, and there you go. Nice and crisp. I love it. All right, so now it's time to add some screws. I'm going to add these tiny screws to each corner of the frame towards the back side, because I am going to add some string lights and I want to be able to just kind of like wrap it around in each corner. You're going to see what I'm doing, and that way it stays in place because I want to add some light so at night it has a nice mood. And then I'm just going to hot glue the bottom portion right onto the back of the frame. With the little battery pack, I'm just going to keep it in the back and I'm just going to tape it in place. It's very lightweight and a little masking tape goes a long way. So I'm just going to tape it right on there. I'm going to add some greenery to the right side and the bottom of the frame. I'm just going to add these ferns. These are from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to staple them in place, making sure I'm very careful not to staple it over the lights. I'll do the same thing on the bottom one, and then I'm just going to add these little pink ones that came in a bundle of peonies, and I'm just going to hot glue it in the center, and that way it's going to add some color. This is the before, and this is the after. I love the way this one turned out. Definitely my favorite from today. I love that it's so bright and cheery, and I'm going to show you what it looks like at night. This next frame hack, I am going to remove the back. Now this one's another one that's very solid. Love the quality of it. It originally came from Home Goods, but I'm going to remove the center and then sand it down. Add a very rough finish. I'm not saying I didn't like it, just not what I was looking for. So I'm just going to use my palm sander, sand it down as much as I can, wipe it really, really well, and then I'm just going to start dry brushing some paint. Now this is a very heavy dry brush, but I do want to still see some of those darker areas here and there. So I'm just going to keep adding paint until I like what I see. Friends, I would love to connect with you on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. And I do have those links down below in the description box. When you are done watching, make sure you go and check them out. Once I had enough paint to where I want it, I'm going to take the little glass portion just as a measuring guide, and I'm going to cut, leaving about 1 inch on each side of the cardboard. Then I'm just going to secure the cardboard to the back of the frame by stapling in place. Now I am going to add some foam. I wish I would have had floral foam, but I only had this type, so I'm just going to cut it into separate pieces and just hot glue it in the center. Once I had the foam in place, I am going to add some moss. This is just going to cover up that foam, and I'm just going to add it using hot glue. This moss you can find at Dollar Tree year round, and it's one of my favorites. I trimmed it a bit, and now I'm going to add a sawtooth hook to the back before I add any florals. That way I can flip it over and hammer it down. Now I'm going to add some succulents. This is just several succulents that I got at Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut off the little stems, and I'm just going to start placing them right onto the foam. It was actually really snug. It didn't need any hot glue, but you can definitely add hot glue if you'd like. I'm going to add different color and shades, and that way it just looks nice and colorful. I'm going to add some faux boxwood here and there just to add a little bit of a dangling element to it, and that way it just fills up those empty spaces as well. Let me show you what the frame looked like before. And this is what it looks like now. It is absolutely stunning. The color of those succulents in contrast with the frame is just beautiful. This next frame hack, I'm going to take this family sign, which is very pretty, but it does have a lot of scratches already. I've had it for so long. So I'm just going to give it a fresh new look. And this is the Bare Cream of Mint. I'm going to give it a couple of coats and let that fully dry. Once it was dry, I am going to add a kind of like a faux brick look, but I don't want it to be very strong. I want it to be very subtle. This is a stamp that I got from a maker studio, and I'm just going to add some paint towards the parts that I know are going to be on the board. I'm not adding a lot of paint because, again, I want this to be very light. Once I had it, I'm just going to flip it over, kind of like press on it, making sure I'm not sliding it, lift it up, and then it has that nice faux brick look. Very subtle, though. I did the same thing to the bottom. I let it dry, and now I'm going to take these containers, like vases. They come 2 in a pack for $3 at the Target dollar spot. I took the larger one, and I'm just going to mark where I need to drill a couple of holes so that I can then thread some jute rope through it, and that way we can tie the vase right onto the frame. I did add some masking tape to the end of each rope. That way it's nice and easy to thread through it. So I know you love watching tutorials here on YouTube, but if you love also reading written tutorials, I do have a blog which I post every single week. I would love for you to check it out. That link is also in the description box. All right, so I made a very simple knot. I didn't even want to just make a bow just because I wanted to keep it simple. I'm going to add some of these flowers that I got at Dollar Tree, and let me remind you what the frame looked like. And this is what it looks like now. It is fresh, it is new. I love that color. It's perfect for summer and spring, and you can change the florals for every season. This is actually a door that a cousin of mine gifted to me because she was cleaning out and didn't need them anymore. I'm going to remove the glass portion from it because I'm not going to need it. I am then going to start measuring alongside of the long sides, and I'm just going to mark every 5 1/4 inch. That way I'll know where I'm going to be drilling because I want to add some dowels going each side. Friends, don't forget to visit my Amazon store. If anything I get on Amazon and I mention I got it on Amazon, chances are it's in my store, and that is also linked down below in the description box. Once I had the holes drilled, I'm going to give everything 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. You do not have to do white. I know I do white a lot. It is my favorite color to make decor with. However, you can use any color that matches your style. Now I'm going to bring these dowels that match the size of the drill that I used, and I'm just going to start cutting them to size, and then I'm going to paint them black using Waverly chalk paint in the ink. I did distress the edges just a little bit to add dimension. Of course, you can skip this step if you do not like the distress look. Now it's time to add the dowels. I'm just going to start placing them from side to side, cutting as needed to make sure that everything's going to fit nice and snug and not too loose. And then it's time to start adding some hooks. I did fill in the holes that it already had on it where the original handle was. I filled it in with some spackle, and I did touch up the paint. I also touched up the black paint here and there where it needed it. This hook, I placed it right in the center on the top of this frame, and then I'm going to add 2 farmhouse style hooks to the bottom of the frame. The top one is going to be to hang a wreath from, and the bottom one can be to hang coats or purses or whatever we want. But isn't this gorgeous? Oh my goodness. It could be used for decorative purposes or functional. I love it. Here's a very quick way to upcycle a frame. I found this one already with a hook on it. I'm going to remove the center portion from it because I do not need it. And I am going to replace it with some crafting chicken wire. I love getting this. I do have it on my Amazon store. Very easy to work with. I'm just going to staple it in place. I'm going to give everything 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white, including the chicken wire, so it has a nice bright tone to it. I'm going to distress everything using a sanding paper. Now again, you can skip this part. I do like the contrast that it offers with all the details, and I even distressed the knob. I'm going to add some greenery. This has a style like a lamb's ear. I'm just going to staple it in the back to keep it in place, and that way it's not going to go anywhere. But look how beautiful this looks. It is so simple. It would be great as a purse holder. Is one of my favorites as well. But I gotta say, the first one with the lights, it's still my favorite. And then the one before this one with the farmhouse hooks, lovely. But let me know which one is your favorite. I would love to know. Let me know down in the comments. And as always, I have another video here for you to watch. Make sure you click on it. Have fun watching. I'll see you later and have a blessed day. Bye.